Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we will start today's meeting with a roll call.
Uh-oh.
And let me go down the list and make sure we have participants so far. Cindy Hall,
Yes.
Cheryl Gidgets,
Yes.
Pam Bailey,
Yes.
Kathy Woody, Kathy Woody. She, John Capps,
Here.
of course, Nat Marshall, Tamara Rosser,
Here.
Yes.
Dana Hogan, Dana Hogan, William Coleman,
Present.
Lauren Anderson,
Here.
Margette Upshur,
Here.
Robbie Morrison,
Here.
Andy Kozowski,
I'm here.
Kenneth Williams,
This is James Davis.
okay, Roxanne Slaughter,
Here.
Luke Seychow,
Present.
Scott Francis,
Here.
Michael Penn,
Here.
Mike Davidson, okay, and Cheryl Toller.
Here.
And we did get notice from several folks that they would not be in attendance. Let's see, who all is on the call that I have not called the name? I know we do have some staff. Tim Saunders.
Here.
Okay, and Lori Cumbo.
Here.
Keith Cook.
Yeah, I'm here.
Kimberly McIver.
Here.
Okay, and are there other names that I have not called yet?
Ben, did you hear me? I'm filling in for Kenneth Williams.
Okay, you say Kenneth Williams?
Yeah, this is James Davis.
Okay, yeah, I got, thank you, got that, and,
Party.
John Redding here. I don't know if you call my name. I was,
okay, yeah, John Redding
on video.
Ron Lovelace.
and Ron Lovelace. Okay,
Grizzly Majerus.
okay. Okay, and is Gary, I'm sorry?
This is Mallory Cook. I'm on the phone. I'm here.
Okay, Mallory, is Gary Christie with us?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm here.
Okay. Anyone else whose name has not been called or who has identified themselves?
Ben, this is Jordan, and me, Joe, and Brock are listening together.
Great.
Hello.
Howdy.
And Sarah Grant is on the call as well.
Okay. Thanks for joining. Okay. With that, we do
Sounds like
have,
we have a quorum.
we do have a quorum for sure. And so, Nat, I will turn it over to you to take the agenda.
Okay, great. I guess the first thing is that we have to remind ourselves of that this is a virtual meeting through Microsoft, being held pursuant to and in compliance with the Virginia Code 2.2-3708A3. So we always have to remind folks of that, along with the fact that it is being recorded. Ben, does that satisfy our requirements for introduction of that? Okay, great.
Yes.
So again, I thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. I am one of those who, for whatever reason, it well may be user error on my part in regards to not being able to get on, but wasn't able to participate via visual, but on the phone. So again, thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. So there's a couple things that we just need to take care of in regards to just need to be done. Some items need to be voted on, and some things just to make you aware of. Let's see, I didn't hear for sure. We have a couple folks that just went through the orientation. I don't know if Gary and Sonia were on. Did they? Were they
No.
on today?
No, they're not with us today.
Okay.
Yes.
But they did go through the orientation, and appreciate them joining us. And hopefully, we'll look forward to them be joining us at another time and then introduce them to the group. There was a third person. Is that the third person on today?
No.
Or?
No.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Gotcha. All right, so we'll look forward to introducing everyone, perhaps even if we get through all this, an actual live meeting where we're all together, so we can look forward to that. So we'll call the meeting to order. I wasn't aware of any public comment. Has anything come in since that last conversation then in regards to public comment?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. So hearing no interest in public comment, we'll move on to the next item, and that's the review and approval of the minutes from the April 22nd meeting. Those minutes were provided to you in an earlier email. Were there any additions, corrections, deletions from those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as provided. And whomever, if you would just say your name as you make the motion. And second?
Cheryl Jiggett, so moved.
Okay, thank you. And
Second.
who was that?
Cindy Hall, second.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so it's been properly moved and second that we approve the minutes as provided. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, and anyone against? Nay. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Moving on to the next item, and it is the fiscal year 2021 budget. We'll ask if Rosalie, the Deputy Director of Finance, will take us through it. So, Rosalie, are you on?
Sure, I am.
Nat?
There are,
Yes.
Yes.
I'll bring that up to share on the screen for those who are able to see it. And
okay.
also,
This year's.
yeah, we need to wrap up, do a review of the current year we just finished before we move into the discussion of the new budget. And you should be able to see. Can you see? Well, Rosalie, we have this up. We have this up for the budget to actual June 30th, 20.
Okay. I'll just talk about the far right-hand columns as far as totals. It shows you your what our budget was and where we ended up. I guess the only couple ones that I'd like to highlight is towards down to the bottom, we had the existing worker training. I don't think that program came forward because of COVID and those kinds of things as much. So we had a budget of 75, but we spent 4,645 on that. The other item is the.
So will that be something that we'll be able to roll over into the next budget year?
All of the money that's left over will be rolled over into the next
all right.
year.
Gotcha. Okay.
How Ben is going to use it might change slightly, but all monies roll over into the next year.
Yep.
The direct program cost, I will say that everything was going pretty gangbusters up until the beginning of the fourth quarter, and so kids weren't in classes, those kinds of things weren't happening. So they did not spend as much as they had anticipated that they would under the program costs. And unless anyone had any particular question on any line item, like I said, all of the monies that is left over will roll into next year. These numbers may change slightly. I'm still working with getting final year-end costs. So these are the numbers that I knew last week. They have not changed significant in any way, but they may change slightly. So just wanted to let you know.
Okay, great. And as always, I know that you keep a really good check on those that are subject to return. That's typically after 2 years we would have to return
Right.
if we haven't paid. So okay.
Right, yeah. And so we would not lose any funding. It's really our PY19 money rolls into next year, and that's what we spend first. And
great.
then the PY20 money will come into play after we spend all of the PY19.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So any action then on the adjusted budget?
This is just for your information.
Information. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Moving on to the budget for next year.
Fiscal year 21.
Correct.
Okay, we've got that up.
All right. And you'll see the carry forward money from admin, dislocated adult and youth for the PY19. We also have, we had a grant this year, but there was not a lot of activity on it. The economic equity, and then we also have money from Wagner Pizer. That's a grant. So those are listed out as well. The budgets that we have to date are listed. I think under the workforce center, I'm dropping down to about the halfway below the page. Our facilities total that changed from last year, but we moved out of the Jubilee Center. So now we're in one facility versus two. So that accounts for some of that change. I don't know, Ben, is there anything in particular that you would like to go over under the individual costs or the programs that are going to be happening next year?
Yeah, just as kind of a point of clarification, as Rosalie mentioned, we have an economic equity grant, and that is a one-year grant that is geared towards providing more effective services for individuals with multiple or complex barriers to employment. And so the idea behind that is to work more closely with our departments of social services in the region to provide stronger support services through adult education, with extra tutoring assistance and things like that to help people enhance their skills so that they can end up in living wage positions. And so that there again, the start for that has been delayed a little bit due to the COVID stuff. But I will let our team members talk a little more about that later in the agenda. The other thing is the Wagner Pizer funding, and we had sent out an email to our executive committee when this opportunity arose. And basically, the basis behind the Wagner Pizer funding is we've been asked to consider providing extra support for the Virginia Employment Commission because all of their existing staff, as you can imagine right now, are being called upon to help process and manage the huge number of unemployed individuals out there. And so they have made money available at the local workforce board level to bring on some additional staff or repurpose existing staff so that they can help with the duty. Typically, the Wagner-Peyser duties would involve helping employers who need to get jobs posted and need help recruiting and job matching. That's one of the functions. And another part of that is actually working with the job seekers, those who need assistance with resumes, with job search, with labor market information. All of those are functions that would be provided under the Wagner-Peyser program. So between now and December, we have a 6-month grant through the Virginia Employment Commission to support the Wagner-Peyser activities so that the existing VEC staff can focus strictly on the unemployment support needs. And the other thing that we mentioned, Rosalie talked about the existing worker training, and yeah, that has been a very slow process. That comes from the Go Virginia grant, or that is match. That's our local workforce board match with the Go Virginia grant. And so we will have until the end of this year to expend that. And we had proposed to spend $50,000 out of our budget to match the Go Virginia funding through the remainder of this year. And there again, the existing worker training, that's designed to help businesses that need to upskill or reskill their employees. If they have a change in business practices, a new piece of equipment or machinery, or new technology that they need to get their employees up to speed on, that's funding that's available for existing businesses to upskill their current workforce.
Are there any questions about any line items or anything?
Let's see, if I remember correctly, Ben, you said that the Finance Committee, who now only consists of a couple folks, but they had a chance to look at it and supported it?
Yes, William Coleman and Ron Lovelace has had a chance to review and comment, provide input on this. And have given the approval at that level.
Okay.
Yes, we've approved it.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. All right. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Let's see. So, coming from committee, but committee of two, I think still applies. There's no need for a second, so we'll go ahead and vote on the budget as it has been presented. All those in favor? Aye.
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 And anyone against? Nay. All right, the ayes have it, and the budget for fiscal year 21 has been approved. So thank you very much. And I know, Ben, you will take care of getting that to the appropriate state organizations. All right,
yes.
So now we are at the agenda item training provider list that was sent to us in a format that I can't get to. So, but Lori, would you take us through the training provider list?
Sure, absolutely. So for those of you who can see, there is a link. If you open your chat feature at the very top of the chat feature, I've linked the actual ETP summary there, as well as a Dropbox link that has a little bit more detailed information. So for those of you who are new, in order for us to spend WIOA Title I funds on a training, that training has to be vetted through the board and approved. And those programs need to be renewed on a yearly basis. So this is our renewal for program year 20. And we have 8 different providers and 35 different programs that need to be renewed, and an additional 6 new programs that need to be approved initially for the first time. And so Nat, don't know really the best way to go through this because I'm not sure actually who has access. If you just want me to read through them, or what would you recommend?
So my thought is that read through the ones who are being renewed.
Yes.
And if you could give us a short history of the new ones, the short
sure.
synopsis
Okay.
of what they are.
Yes.
If you do that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So the first program, actually, it's the Bedford Science and Technology Center, which has a new name. They are the Susan G. Gibson Science and Technology Center, and they have a practical nursing program. We did have a CNA program, but they're no longer offering that. Second provider is Central College of Nursing. We have a nurse aid program, a practical nursing program, as well as a registered nurse program. And then CVCC Fast Forward programs, which is the non-credit side of the house. We have commercial driver's license, certified clinical medical assistant, Electrical 1, NCCER Core Introductory Craft Skills, NCCER Electrical 2, SHRM Exam Preparation Class, Phlebotomy Technician, Emergency Medical Technician, and Project Management Professional Exam Prep Course. For CVCC credit, we have Administrative Management Technology. We have, make sure that's right, Administrative Management Technology with Medical Office Specialization, HVAC, Machine Tool, Medical Laboratory Technology, Business Administration, Medical Coding, Administration of Justice, Culinary Arts and Management, Pharmacy Technology, Welding. That's the last one for CVCC. Then we have Raspberry Hill Adult Daytime Center. They have 2 programs, Nurse Aid and Medication Aid. The next provider is Victory Vocational Institute, and they have NCCER Core. Next provider is Non-Traditional Occupations for Women, or NOW, and they have NCCER Core and also Electrical 1. And the last provider is Virginia Technical Institute with Electrical, HVAC-R, Industrial Maintenance Mechanic, Welding, Plumbing, and Carpentry. And that ends the programs that we actually need to renew. And then we have 6 new programs. They're all fast forward programs from CVCC. And the first is an advanced emergency technician. I'll just read through that for you guys that do not have access. It's 120 classroom hours and 64 hours of clinical rotations. The total cost is $3,249. It does lead to a state and national registry of emergency medical technicians credential. The median annual wages for EMTs in our region is $14.65 per hour, with a growth rate of 7% nationally by 2026. And the second program is NCCER Electrical 3. It's 16 weeks long. The cost is $1,602. It leads to an NCCER Electrical 3 credential. The next program is Certified Pharmacy Technician. It's 80 classroom hours, 80 clinical hours. The cost is $1,950. It leads to a Pharmacy Technician credential. The median hourly rate of pay for farm techs in Lynchburg is $14.50, and a projected growth rate of 8.5% by 2026. Then we have apprentice medical scribe professional, which is 80 classroom hours, 25 clinical hours. The cost is $2,100. It leads to an American Healthcare Documentation Professional Group, apprentice medical scribe professional credential. The median salary in our area for medical scribes is in a range from $11.50 to $15.96 per hour, with a projected growth rate of 8.5% by 2026. And then we have a solar photovoltaic system installer. It's a 2-week course. It's 6 hours a day and some online work as well. The cost is $1,296. It leads to an NCCER solar photovoltaic system installer credential. The median salary in Lynchburg region is $23.88 per hour. And the last program we have is a certified apartment maintenance technician. The class is 10 weeks long and 80 hours. The cost is $1,950. It leads to a certified apartment maintenance technician, which is CAMT. The median salary in our area is $17.93 per hour. And that completes the new programs for us. So.
Great. Thank you for going that detail for us. Appreciate
Sure.
it. All right. Anyone have any questions on any of those providers? You mentioned Raspberry. I wasn't familiar with the Raspberry organization. Where are they located?
Yeah, they actually have a couple of different places. They're over here, actually across from us in the, where Lynn Kay.
Galleria.
I'm sorry. Yes, the Galleria.
Galleria.
And then they
Galleria.
did have a
Okay.
location in Forest as well.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Being in the Galleria, are they affiliated with the LNCAG at all?
Not to my knowledge.
Only by contract,
Okay.
Ben. We contract with them to do some CNA training.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Bill. All right. Any other questions? All right. This does require action on our part, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the providers, you and.
I'll make a motion. This is Tracy Bledo. I'll make a motion
Thank you.
to accept all of it.
Okay.
I'll make a
Do I have a second?
Bobby.
Okay.
I'll do a second, City Hall.
Yeah, I heard a couple of seconds there. Ben, were you able to get one of them? The first one I couldn't hear, but.
Robbie.
You got the second? Okay, there it is. Okay, thanks. All right, it's been properly moved and second that we accept the new and renewed providers for training. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Thank you. And anyone against? Nay. Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, and Lori, thank you for that detail.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yep. All right. Next item is the COVID-19 response. This is coming from the board staff and workforce partners. So I'll turn over to you, Ben, and you can take us through it.
Okay. Thank you, Nat. Just to give you an update, I would start by saying we certainly continue to be in a very fluid situation, not knowing or not having been through a pandemic of this sort before. And I will emphasize that we do continue offering and providing services to those who need assistance. Our workforce center right now, the Virginia Employment Commission building on Oddfellows Road, is physically closed, but staff are there. Some are still working from home, and we are trying to provide outreach as much as possible. We did have a chance to participate in the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce job fair that was held this past week. I think we had around 20, maybe a few more businesses represented there. It was held at the Forest Library. It was an outdoor job fair, so it did allow for appropriate social distancing and those kinds of things. But we've also, in response to trying to negotiate through this with Tim Saunders as assistants, we've been able to hold a virtual job fair that was focused on healthcare. And we have some discussion and planning in the works for a future virtual job fair focused on manufacturing. We just got word in the past week. We will be partnering with the Virginia Employment Commission at the state level to hold a statewide job fair that will have probably 150 to up to 200 employers involved. This will be a virtual job fair. So this seems like the safest and most appropriate way for us to help the many folks who have been impacted in our region to find and secure employment. One thing I would like to point out is, certainly thankful for Tim Saunders and his role helping us provide up-to-date and relevant information regarding unemployment information, and also trying to keep our website and social media outreach up to date. I think one of the exciting things that Tim's been able to do is on our website build in a feature that highlights the existing employment options or opportunities that are available in our region on any given day. I think there's typically around 1,100 or so. I would like to give Tim an opportunity to talk a little bit about basically just to give you all as board members a little bit of an update on the latest data. We're fortunate to be able to work with the Virginia Employment Commission and get weekly reports on what's happening and kind of the trends with unemployment. I think it's fair to say that we're still in a very unprecedented time in terms of the numbers of folks unemployed. And Tim, would you, I'm not sure how our technology will work for us, but I'm not sure if you would be able to step in at this time and maybe share a few comments about the latest on unemployment data and some of the things that you have been doing to help move us forward.
I'll be happy to do that. As Ben mentioned, I have been trying to track the numbers each week related to unemployment, the numbers that are published by the Virginia Employment Commission, which, by the way, these numbers are available to everyone. If you go to the Virginia Employment Commission's website and click on press releases, every Thursday they post this information in a spreadsheet that is available, and it has numbers from across the state. It's broken down by workforce region, and it's broken down by city and county, by locality. And what we've been trying to do is focus in on our workforce development area and help local stakeholders keep track of what's going on. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see an example of what we've been doing. I think this is going to everyone in this meeting right now. If for some reason you have not been getting this each week, please send me an email and let me know. My email address is tim.saunders@vcwcentral.com. So shoot me an email and I'll make sure you're on the mailing list for this. But each Friday, we try to send out a statement that summarizes where things stand with unemployment claims for the week. And when we have information available, we do try to put things in context. I know last week we got some questions about numbers that appeared to be somewhat higher for our region. And because some of you got in touch with me and we were able to follow up with the demographers at the state level, we found that there was a problem. They actually made a mistake in the spreadsheet. So because of your diligence in tracking this information locally, we were able to help the state correct their numbers. But here is where we stand in terms of unemployment. There are two measurements that we're tracking. I'm sorry, is there a question?
Slowly turn your head right. Slowly turn back.
Sounds like someone has their GPS going. So we are tracking two different measurements of employment: continued unemployment claims and initial unemployment claims. Continued claims are the ones that are being made by people after they get into the unemployment system, and they are making what are called weekly claims now, continued claims. And then, of course, there are the initial claims. These are the first-time claims that are filed by people when they first enter the unemployment system. So the thing that you should probably understand here, and we obviously have some folks on the call here like Kimberly who are very familiar with these numbers, but the thing you need to understand is that we've kind of plateaued in terms of unemployment in our region. The numbers have sort of hit a point where they're staying steady, and it's been that way since about mid-May. We have anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 continued claims being filed every week in our region, which is a large number, especially when you compare those numbers to where we were this time last year. Unemployment, I think, in May of this year was I don't know the exact percentage. I know it was above 8% for our workforce region. Last May, it was 3.2%. So we are well above where we would normally be. But again, we have about 8,000 to 9,000 claims being filed every week, continued claims for this region. You can see we've broken it down by the individual localities, and we do that each week. And there are the initial claims. And the employment sector that seems to be most impacted and has been since the pandemic started is food preparation and serving related occupations. Those folks have been filing claims in the largest numbers and have continued to do so. All their numbers aren't nearly as high, or they don't account for as large of a percentage of all the claims as some of the others now. We're starting to see office and administrative support occupations and even production take up a larger chunk of the pie when it comes to the percentage of people filing first-time claims for unemployment. So that's the information that we're sharing on unemployment. Are there any questions?
Tim, can you give us your email one more time?
Certainly. It is tim.saunders, and that's SAUNDERS, at vcwcentral.com. And VCW is Virginia Career Works, so vcwcentral.com.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I would emphasize that if there's information that you would like greater detail on or have further questions, feel free to reach out at us at any time, because we can certainly work with you individually, based on your particular business needs or the needs of a locality you might be in.
All right. Great. Was there anything else there in regards to COVID-19 there, Ben?
No, not at this time. Like I say, feel free to email us, call us, whatever, if you need additional information or have further questions, and we'll be glad to help you the best we can. And
okay,
we do have
one thing.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ben. You may be
you go
answering
ahead.
the question I was going to ask. I was going to say that you won't give them a little detail on when you expect to open up. I don't think you said anything about that, the actual date or approximate dates of opening up to a limited number of folks, as well as what you had to do in the facility itself in regards to preparing.
Yeah, well, that segues us into the next portion of the agenda. And basically, I'll just say that it looks like it will be Wednesday of next week when we open physically. We do not intend to put a lot of publicity around it because we don't want a lot of people showing up, standing in line in the hot sun, getting more and more frustrated. So what we will do is we will be open by appointment only. We have been able to get some scheduling software set up with Keith's help and ITG. And so we'll be, Tim has also worked with us to get it set up on our website to where people can register for an appointment or request an appointment through our website. And so we will, when we do open next week, we anticipate being open at least initially from 10 to 3. and we will monitor that, see how it goes. All of the workforce areas around the state have been given some specific guidance in terms of what we need to have in place before we open. And that includes, the personal protective equipment, plexiglass screens for those who are in a customer service role. We are expected to have a health screener, someone to help with the health screening, checking temperatures and asking questions, things like that, for all of the folks who show up by appointment. And this is something we do need to make you aware of. As you can imagine, there's a lot of frustration out there. I know that many of the VEC staff have been working nights and weekends trying to meet this unprecedented demand for unemployment. And, if somebody makes one error, one keystroke that's incorrect in their application, it can cause it not to go through, and then they have to have some kind of personal contact with someone to get the assistance they need to straighten out their situation. So basically what's happening, as I mentioned earlier, all of the Virginia Employment Commission staff, for the most part, are focusing on unemployment and helping manage that process. They have added call centers, they have added additional staff, and that's why we're trying to help out some with the job seeker and the employer end with the Wagner-Peiser efforts. We do have 2 security guards, and given what's happened around the state, we had requested that at least one of the security guards be armed, because sometimes when people get very frustrated, we don't know what action they might take. But we have all the staff who utilize the center going through training in a variety of ways, to manage safety and customer service in an appropriate manner. So that's kind of the high-level view, and I would like to invite Keith and any other folks to kind of give us, Kimberly, Keith and Kimberly, if you all could kind of share some updates on what's happening there on the front lines. And then I know that Keith also has some end of the year report data to share with you as well. So, Keith?
Yeah, I want to just, thanks, Ben. I want to just again emphasize that at this point, that if you know of people who are struggling with unemployment application concerns, they've applied and there's an issue, that's not something that we're going to be able to see them in the center for. That is still going to be the process of which is often frustrating, but calling the 1-866 number or calling the center. Basically, the process right now is if they call the center, we will forward their information on to a VEC staff person who will return the call. We don't have the ability to really do anything different in person than we can virtually or over the phone. So we will not be taking any appointments or having people line up. If they show up and say, hey, I need help with my unemployment, where's my check? These kinds of things, they're going to be turned away. The appointment system that we're going to initiate is really to try to help those people who are looking to utilize the resource room or get enrolled in one of our adult dislocated worker or youth programs. That's what the appointments are going to be for, job seekers or program participants who are looking to move on into employment. If it's a UI question, now we can, again, help people if they're trying to file for the first time and they don't have access to a phone or the computer. We could potentially do that, but we're going to kind of screen that stuff pretty heavily. So again, if you run into anybody, we encourage you to yes, we're open, but it's right now they can request an appointment through the Virginia CareerWorks site, or they can call the 455-5940 number and schedule an appointment directly with Terry Muse up front. But that's going to be the process at this point. We do have all the protocols in place. We have hopefully the health screening people in place, the signage. Kimberly has worked hard to make sure we have all the the plexiglass and the PPE stuff in place. So it's been a lot of different elements to get that rolling, but that's hopefully the goal again is next Wednesday. And again, we'll kind of see how it goes. And if there's questions about any of that, let me know. Or if Kimberly, if you want to add anything.
Thank you, Keith and Ben. I just want to also include, in reference to unemployment insurance inquiries, that when an individual is transferred or a message is taken, that I've instructed staff to reply or respond to that individual as quickly as possible, but no later than 24 hours within that contact. So individuals will not be, put off or overlooked. Those individuals that do reach out to us, we definitely will respond to those inquiries within 24 hours. The other thing that Ben mentioned in reference to the security guards, it is a contract through the Virginia Employment Commission, and we have a contract in place for at least one armed guard. There are 2 guards on site right now, and one of them is slated to receive additional training so that they can carry a weapon. And that training is scheduled within the next couple of weeks. So we may not have an armed guard on site at the reopening, but we will eventually have one in place. The contract is with Allied University Services, and those individuals, I think there's about over 200 guards that are part of this contract, and so they're also having to administer additional training to get armed guards in place. So we will have one in place. Hopefully it will be sometime soon. So I just wanted to add that information.
Yeah, and I want to thank Margette for helping us get connected with Lynchburg Police Department. They've been one of our training providers. Matter of fact, we've got another training tomorrow morning with Lynchburg Police Department. So thank you, Margette. And thanks to the Lynchburg Police Department.
Yes, Lieutenant Cook was very instrumental and helpful and facilitated that training last week as well, and then again this week.
And let's see, Kimberly, I guess you are now once again back to wearing 2 hats. I can't remember at our last meeting it was announced that Kevin was leaving. Maybe we did make that announcement, but you have not selected a replacement for him yet?
Not yet. We have concluded interviews, and so we are in the selection process. So hopefully we will have someone in place very soon. But yes, I'm dual-hatted until then.
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. Anything else from Keith? Keith or Kimberly?
Well, not about the center necessarily, but I can get into some programmatic stuff. And I know I sent this to Tim because I'm having a hard time sharing the screen over here. But again, I know everybody's aware and voted on it. We're excited that Humankind has also now been awarded the youth contract, and we're excited with Sarah and the team on board. And I'll have her speak in a moment and introduce one of our newest staff. But right now we are going through the process of hiring, kind of with the addition of all these roles. There is another layer that we've instituted. Obviously, Sarah is the coordinator over the youth program. We'll also have a coordinator over the adult program who will handle more of the day-to-day programmatic stuff that I had overseen prior, and it will free me up to handle more of the system-wide stuff and partner relation stuff. So we're excited about that. We'll be doing interviews hopefully this week and next week for that. But I did, and so normally at this point I do share the reports that kind of break down the key metrics for the partners of the system. The reality is I don't have the partner numbers for year end. One, because we're always kind of a little bit behind because it takes a while to report. And also, it's been a bit of a challenge with COVID, and you're going to see COVID reflected all through this, for the partners to be able to update that information. So we'll do our best, maybe by the next board meeting, to have a year end for the entire region. But I did want to share just briefly, and if there's questions, I can certainly answer them. The numbers for the adult dislocated worker and youth program, PY 1819 to 1920. And you'll see, if there's questions on the format, let me know. But you'll see, obviously, once March hit, We were doing well. We were on track with a few things. Even the youth had already enrolled more people than previous year. But then when March hit and COVID hit, everything kind of shut down. Training providers stopped doing training. We had people. We barely got any initial assessments in. Everybody was just looking for unemployment. So there's no question COVID has had a huge impact on the remaining 4 months of our program year. The positive thing about that is I think next year, hopefully, when we do a comparison, we'll see a great increase if we get through this stuff. But it is still, the assessments are starting to flow in again and people are starting to get re-enrolled, but it's still nothing like what it was prior to March of this year. But in these reports, you can see right now you're seeing the adult one, and then below is the youth one if Tim wants to scroll down. And that just gives you the basic numbers of how many enrollments we had, how many individuals we served through the course that year, credentials, and then how many were employed at exit. There are obviously other factors that we could share, and I'm always open and say this every meeting that if there's other specifics that board members would like to see, I'd be happy to put that together. But that just gives you kind of a snapshot of where we are year to date from the last 2 program years. So if there's questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, great. Thanks. Any questions?
And if not, I'll have Sarah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, yes, please go ahead, Sarah.
I'll have Sarah introduce our newest staff member and say anything if she'd like to. That'd be great.
All right.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure,
All
Sarah.
right. I'm not sure. There's so many people on here. I'm not sure if Joe is still on. There he
Hey,
is.
Joe.
I'm here.
So after a long process of interviewing to fill the Bedford position, we're so excited to bring Joe Girandola on board. And honestly, we were very picky about filling this position. And so as we introduce you to Joe, I'm introducing you to someone that we worked really hard to find the right fit for this position. And Joe has a ton of case management experience, a lot of experience in Bedford. He's moving into Bedford County, and we obviously, we're itching to be able to get into the schools, and we never expected to bring someone in this position and have to wait so long to get into the schools and have a lot of those face-to-face meetings. So we'll be excited when we can do that more and more, but we're getting a lot of good time to plan and prepare and connect with businesses and referral sources. And Joe is the best fit for this position. So we're excited to connect. I know there's a lot of people on this board that we're excited to connect with, as you are the representatives of Bedford County. So we're excited to do that. Welcome, Joe. We changed his email from Joseph Girandola to Joe so that you can find him a little bit easier. But we're excited to connect him to all of you. So thank you.
Right.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. So looking forward to it. We're starting the process and moving forward.
Welcome aboard, Joe.
Certainly welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Absolutely. Sarah, did you want to give any more information in regards to the youth, or?
I can hear you said my name, but I couldn't hear much after that.
Were you done? Did you want to say anything in regards to the program itself, or?
Well, a lot of it is all wrapped up in COVID, and I know I'm a lot of a times a feelings person, and I'm just pretty overwhelmed in a good way by my team and how they've really pushed through, how crazy it's been to provide services, and just seeing how now the results of all that are flowing. We're getting to engage. We had some really special opportunities to connect youth with cars, with jobs, even into a registered apprenticeship, OJTs, all of that when we couldn't see people face to face. And so it's exciting to know that, well, knock on wood, that we're moving closer and closer to being able to re-engage. We're about to start our first Career Essentials class. So I know this is more excitement and less data, but I'm just really proud of my team for how they pulled together when we couldn't see people face to face, and just getting excited for this next program year. So thank you for asking.
Very much. Appreciate it. Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
Nat,
Excited if you were excited.
Nat, I'd just like to give a shout out to Sarah and her team too, because you know, with our youth program, we're expected to spend 20% of our youth budget on work experiences, and they've done an amazing job, you know, as Sarah alluded to, getting young people connected with work experience, career exploration opportunities despite the challenges we faced with COVID. And they actually were able to even get I think at least one, maybe two web-based internships or work experiences set up. So thank you very much, Sarah and team.
And also, I do want to say thank you to Ben. Just kind of subtly transitioned from one operator to the next. Well, maybe not so subtle, but just Ben, thank you for all of your involvement in the youth program and pushing us to get us to the place that we're at. Just, I don't want that to go unsaid. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And support. Thank you.
You all are making it happen. Keep it up.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else in regards to program updates, Ben?
And Kimberly, Luke, Roxanne, you all want to provide any updates? Job Corps, I know Job Corps is with us. You're one of our WOA partners. You all of you have challenges. I don't know if you give any brief update on what's happening with Job Corps services, Adult Ed services, and Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services. You want to start, James?
Ben, this is James Stevens, Old Dominion Job Corps.
Yes.
We have not received any further instruction as far as when we're opening. We are looking at the end of the 1st of August, but now it might be the latter part of August. We'll know more after the 22nd of this month.
Okay. Keep us posted. Thank you.
Will do. Well, thank you.
Roxanne, are you still with us and able to communicate? Roxanne? Okay. Luke Seychow, are you with us with Adult Ed?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Ben. You know, I just went through our leadership conference, and majority of that was on the roadmap back to, I guess, the school year. You know, apparently it's just kind of up in the air for now, but what we've decided to do is just what pretty much all the school divisions are trying to do, which is the hybrid piece and virtual and do all the remote proctoring, but that's been a challenge. You know, not just necessarily a staffing issue, but also access for clients. So we're hoping that as the Workforce Center opens up, we can continue to do some testing there, and eventually, once the school systems open up, we can start classes again, since the majority of our classrooms are based in the school setting. We're looking at being able to do that in the phase 2, you know, as adult education is considered alternative ed. But it's still up in the air, and we're just really waiting on each local school division. You know, even though it's a regional program, each local school division is still kind of in control. what their plans and what they need to do. But I think as we move forward, you know, I mean, we're going to come up with some innovative or creative ways to see how we can provide testing. We have no other option but to take a look at that. So we'll see, and we'll talk some more then with all our partners to see what else we can do to meet the needs of clients that you all serve too.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Capps, are you still with us? You know, CVCC is a critical training partner for us, and I know you all have been going through a lot of trying to figure out how to deliver training. Any updates from the community college?
Yeah, I'm still here, Ben, and thanks for the opportunity to speak. We are open. We are functioning right now in a primarily remote environment by offering online courses and through remote student services. However, about, I guess, 3 weeks ago, we did begin to bring back small groups of students to complete incompletes in their hands-on skills-based classes. We're bringing those groups in 10 at a time, and then we'll also be bringing in those small groups of students to complete the summer classes they're enrolled in. The approach that we're taking toward the fall is primarily the approach that we're employing right now through the summer. Most of the general education classes will be offered online. There will be hybrid opportunities for students in those skills-based classes. And then we'll also be offering some virtual classes, but in real time. So those classes will be conducted via Zoom according to a regular class schedule. We'll be recording those classes so that students can either participate during the scheduled times or they'll be able to go back later on and watch the recordings of those classes. So we're trying to cover the waterfront with a variety of opportunities for our students, providing them with the excellent education we're known for, but at the same time trying to provide them with that education in as safe an environment as we possibly can.
Thank you. And Tamara Rosser, are you still with us? I know social services is a critical need for many folks when they lose their jobs and struggle with childcare and other related issues. But any updates from Department of Social Services, Tamara? Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
We've got plenty of childcare money. We've got TANF money. We've got money for those supportive services, and yeah, if they've increased those allotments this year. So we are here if people need childcare, if people are receiving TANF and need additional support and services, we do have those resources available.
Okay. Thank you. We will be in touch. I know Christine Kennedy is working on an interesting project. One of the dilemmas that we face in our region as we move into the fall is, as you know, there are many folks in the workforce who have childcare issues, and trying to figure out what's going to happen. Yeah, I know many parents rely on the schools when children are in school to assist with some of the childcare. And with the school systems being turned upside down in their delivery model, we have some real challenges ahead of us to figure out how can we continue to provide care for essential employees, and especially for those essential employees who maybe are working in education in some capacity, who may have difficulty finding childcare themselves. So we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Nat, that's all that I'm aware of on our end from the program areas. I would be curious to hear from any of our business members, any particular issues, challenges that you're facing, anything that our workforce partners can assist with. You know, we'd love to have you speak up now, or if now is not the time to do it, please be sure and communicate with me or a staff member.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
The youth exhibition that we had at Liberty University, are we going to do that this year?
That will not be happening in a physical way. Actually, that's very, very good timing. Christine Kennedy and team, we had a phone call just this past week regarding how we might conduct a virtual career expo. And so we've got some models that we're looking at and some resources we're looking into, because bottom line, we need to find a way to continue engaging our young people in appropriate career development activities, because there are some real needs for trained employees, especially in healthcare and manufacturing, which are the big needs for our area. So we need to be able to continue building that pipeline. Christine, did you have additional thoughts?
This is Cindy. Could I make one suggestion?
Sure.
To go onto the Virginia Career Works Facebook page and share one of the posts, and I just did that on my Facebook to make people aware in Appomattox, where I am from, aware of some of the things that are offered through the organization. And I think that if everybody, particularly board members, probably have a Facebook page, and if they could do that, just go onto the Virginia Career Works Facebook and click on share, and it's instant. You can add information to it like I did, which everybody uses it, particularly people looking for a job. So that's my suggestion for the day.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. All right, anyone else in regards to business? Yes.
I did want to mention, Ben, this is Robbie Morrison with 4-H. We have had, naturally, it's been more difficult getting out the information and getting the training that we'd like to do, but we've really worked together throughout the country, actually, but in Virginia as well. And for example, we've been able to do a lot of our things online. One of the things that we like to do is hands-on education. Well, that's sort of hard to do in a virtual world, but we have worked very hard to develop things that can be done, even though it's being handed to them virtually, but it can be done in a hands-on way. And so our state Congress this year, we're still having competitions. They're virtual. We have some amazing training, that leadership training for our state Congress. So we've tried to move on and do those things as well. Of course, I know the school situation, we'll have to see, how that works, once they decide how the school is going to be implemented. But we are having, our clubs are starting to meet again. They've been meeting virtually, but they are meeting again. Now, of course, using social distancing. So that's basically where we are. But we are still trying to encourage the youth, particularly the leadership training they're getting with State Congress.
Thank you, Robbie. That's very helpful. And I'm hoping we can find some ways as we move forward, especially with our youth program, to better connect with the many resources that you've got, especially the online resources during the time that we're in right now.
Any other questions, thoughts? Yep, Robbie, thank you. Yep. Any other questions, thoughts, as we come to the end of our meeting? Let's see, the next quarterly board meeting will be in October, correct, Ben?
That's correct. Second Tuesday in October.
Okay. Certainly, of course, at that time, we will be vetting some folks as far as new board members. So as we get those who may be interested, especially those who are in the business world, we will certainly do a little bit of background checks and May get just for simplicity's sake, I may go and ask the executive committee to help in that vetting process. We've got 1 or 2 who've already expressed an interest. And if you know of anyone else who's interested in the board, we always have a need. The requirement is that 51% of the board be business folks. So that's always a challenge. So we'll be doing that over the course of the next time, and may have a slate of folks to bring to you in our next meeting in October. Right now, there is a scheduled meeting, and I'm hoping that everything's in place for that. On Friday, the state board will be meeting, and certainly it is a open event. So if anybody wants to get online for that, it is a virtual meeting, and that will be available. And certainly Ben will have that access information at some point. So if you are interested in participating or observing the state board meeting, that is tentatively scheduled for Friday. I haven't heard anything otherwise, so I assume it's still on. Ben, any other announcements that we need to make before we close?
I have none.
Okay. Well, Ben, thank you very much for all the work that you've been doing, certainly pulling things together, and certainly it seems to have been a very smooth transition into the youth, into the humankind. So thank you for your help with that. Thank everybody for participating. If there's nothing else, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone take care.
Thank you, Scott.